Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Diablo 3. My name is Wilfred. So in today's video, I'd like to explore further onto this Necromancer Thorns build, especially to compare certain gears, legendary gem kind of like options there. But before we get into that, as you guys know, I always enjoy playing the game from the game mechanic perspective, trying to work out what best for me and what may not work for me. Now there are many references in the internet to help on making certain decisions. For example, you could read up the IC Bane, which is by and large is pretty good build there, but sometimes the stuff inside may not be 100% correct or may not work entirely for you. Or you could take a look at the leaderboard in the ranking and see what other people are doing that work for you for the build as well, and try to find something that you may enjoy playing. So I've done a little bit of study, I've done a little bit of experimentation myself into this very special kind of Thorns build. Now, but before I go into the two legendary gems, I'd like to just highlight to you the differences and so on, and also other differences that I found compared to, say, IC Bane and what I experienced. Just a little bit of introduction. Thorns build is a pretty unique kind of gameplay. You don't really see that a lot in Diablo 3, especially the one that is for Necromancer, because you really depends on the pets to produce a Thorns kind of like output. It only works when someone hits you. So if the boss hits you very often, and so on, then of course there's a lot of Thorns that go back to the boss. But if it doesn't, like the goblin that doesn't hit you, you do not no damage or very little damage at all. So it is a very kind of unique build that kind of work really well in the Greater Rift pushing, because the build itself is very, 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 very durable. It's surreal because if you play a Necromancer, any build that you can name, Rathma, even Inarius or whatnot, you kind of like, or Tragol of course, you kind of feel a little bit fragile. It kind of like, there are two kind of gameplays when it comes to Necromancer. Either A, play a mage kind of build whereby you just wipe everything off on the screen and try not to get hit by anything, or B, you try to do a little bit of elite hunting, so shuttle around the whole map, try to group all the elite together and just down them when the Land of the Dead kind of like off cooldown. So that is basically the Necromancer build. Extremely fragile but very powerful. Thorn build though is interesting because it's not as powerful, it's not as flashy. Like if you look at all this video, it's not that exciting, like unlike the Singularity Mage, whereby it just destroy everything on the screen, and especially when it pop the big cooldown on Land of the Dead, everything just die. Let's Guardians or whatever bosses just die pretty fast. It doesn't have this kind of flashiness in the whole kind of like Thorn build, but it is not to say that it's not exciting to play as well, because it's a little bit of situational, whether you are able to group certain mobs together, bring certain mobs and try to curse as many mobs as possible to increase your damage output, and also play a little bit of like to see how much damage you can take before you kind of like go back to somewhere else to avoid certain damage. So it's a little bit of thinking behind it. You constantly have to push your skeleton forward for the command skeleton to work, for your life regen and whatnot. So it is pretty engaging build, but very durable. So I kind of enjoy this build a lot. Now to play this build, there are a couple of ways. The main thing to think about the Thorn build is the Thorn doesn't do crit, nor if it doesn't do crit, so all the crit hit chance, crit hit damage just wouldn't make sense at all. So you can ignore all these stats. You would like your character to be as tanky as possible. Things like the life regen is kind of interestingly good. Then you would like to have a pretty high health as well in some sense, but more importantly, you want to have the primary stat as well as Thorn. So now I think in IC Bane they advise you to do all kind of red gem onto your armor and your leg item, chest and leg item. But I found that it may not be as useful, because the Thorn only gets scaled up by your primary stat. So as Necromancer, your primary stat is going to be intelligence, so yellow gem it is. Putting red gem will kind of like extra bit of like damage mitigation, but you sacrifice a lot of damage because it's a multiplier. The formula is like a quarter of the a quarter of the primary stat plus 1 times times the thorn damage, I think. So you kind of lose quite a fair bit if you follow Icy Vein on the red gem versus the yellow gem that I'm using right now. So I'm using yellow gem right now. And by the way, the couple of clips that I'm showcasing to you, I don't know whether you guys can notice or not, but some of them is using the life regen card legendary gem. Another one is Bane of the Trap, and it is also the main topic of this video, is to share with you my finding between the two. So if you read up on Icy Vein, it is being advised to use the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. So at the rank 91, the regen is about 101,000 health per second. That's quite a fair bit. And if you don't take damage for 4 seconds, you've gained a shield that is 20% of your life per second. So in my case, it's around 211,000 health, which is about 25% of the shield there for you. In essence, what it means is that your maximum health kind of get artificially increased by that 25%, making you a little bit more durable, because there's a lot of one-shot kind of like opportunity or danger in this game. Now, but the another thing is that because of bone armor, the bone armor, when you hit target, if each target you hit is 10% increase your life regen. So that's a fair bit of life regen that you are increasing, that would potentially up your shield in some sense. So it's a very, very interesting build. Just keep spawning kind of elite like this one here. I think I spawned about 2 or 3 elites at the same time. So that's usually the gameplay. As you can see, it's very durable. No way you can survive this one in a Rathma build if you were to be in this situation that I'm showcasing you right now. It's just not possible. Now, that is one option, using the Molten Wildebeest of the Gizzard. It gives your character a lot of very, very good kind of like survivability, as you can see in some clip. Not this one, but in some clips. So if you see my health go down, well, that is because I use Bane of the Trap. Now, Bane of the Trap for rank 96 is a 43.8% control. So if mob is under control impairing effect, you increase the damage dealt by 43.8%, which is quite a big deal. And also, it has an aura to reduce the movement speed of the mobs around it, so you slow them down, which of course trigger the 43.8% of the damage dealt. But that's not the fantastic thing about it. The fantastic thing about it is that if you use the Crispy Sentence, which is one of the Necromancer ring, if a mob is under slow effect, your damage to them is basically increased by a huge amount. I think 100 or something, can't remember what's my ring like, but you increase it by a great amount. And then if you have another kind of like control, slow or stun or whatever, you deal with like triple of the effect. So that is really, really high DPS. Now, so the question is that, do you need that kind of DPS, and in what scenario would you use that? Because for this season, you don't need to have the LON rings, the pair of them, so you can have a choice of quite a lot of like options there. Conversion of element, you can have Crispy Sentence, and what have you, or the Stone of Jordan as well. So if you use the Crispy Sentence, so of course the best thing is for you to have some kind of like more reliable, slow kind of like fixes or debuff against the target, because when you stun, the target is not attacking you. When they are not attacking you, you're not dealing damage through Thorn either. So it's a little bit of like thinking behind it. And yes, I can say that if you use the Bane of the Trap, you could potentially deal a little bit more damage as you go through this kind of scenario. But the only downside of it is that it depends on the map, depends on the mob. So some of the mobs are pretty high damage, like the one that is the Lasher, those that do pretty high damage against you. Now, if you use the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard, then you can recuperate pretty fast, because you are gaining about more than 110 kind of like 1,000 health per second. So you could like back off a little bit and then recover all your health for all intent and purposes. And also because your bone armor, I pick up because the bone armor increase life regen, and that essentially would also create it use health, 20% health. So to recuperate from that also rather difficult if you are not using a life regen card gem. So in conclusion, while if you look at the leaderboard, when the top players are using the Bane of the Trap, which I think if you want to push for the really maximum of it, and it's really map dependent by the way, whether it works or not, then of course the Bane of Trap would be one of the would be a very viable options. But if you want to just play a little bit on the pushing the high rip but not that high until you want to beat your record or beat the world record, then I really would recommend the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. So that would be my verdict for you. So I'll use the life regen card legendary gem. I'll use the yellow gem for the damage output. And all in all, I mean, this is whatever gear that I have, I try to avoid the of course crit and crit hit damage, crit hit chance is not going to be useful. So in a way, I try to go for things like Thorn damage or the physical damage, because the Thorn does physical damage, or the command skeleton kind of damage, and the just buff the skeleton that will buff the Thorn, I believe. And cooldown reduction could be helpful as well, but all in all, that's about it. Vitality and intelligence, all the jazz, but not in some of these like not in those like crit kind of like a damage. Do I want attack power? It could be useful as well, because as the skeleton kind of like attack for you, it does the life regen. But I don't believe that attack power is going to be that essential. Because ultimately it doesn't really give you that kind of like the skeleton doesn't really do that much damage on itself, but as a Thorn kind of like I don't think it affects the Thorn either, because Thorn is that when you get hit, you hit back kind of thing, so that's nothing really to do with attack speed, I suppose, unless there's some hidden mechanic somewhere whereby the attack speed actually affect the formula of the Thorn build. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure about that, but I think meanwhile my priority would be just to make sure that I got enough like a Thorn, enough like the primary stat, enough like physical damage, command skeleton, and so on and so forth. Alright, so now that was the level 95 kind of setup with my friend Dupe, and previously it was all 85 solo. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and do drop me a note below if you have comments on how I can improve on this build, or questions on how to further do Thorn build. Alright, see you next time. Goodbye.